The life and sad ending of Merle Travis. Merle Travis was born Merle Robert Travis on November 29, 1917, in Rosewood, Kentucky, United States. His father was a coal miner, and the family lived on the bare edge of poverty. His very first instrument was a 5-string banjo, but when he was 12 years old, his older brother gave him a homemade guitar. He learned the basics of his celebrated guitar style from Mose Rager, who played in a unique 3-finger style he had picked up from black railroad worker, fiddle, and guitarist Arnold Schultz. A near neighbor was Ike Everly, another proficient local guitarist and later the father of Don and Phil, the Everly brothers. Merle adapted the finger style to a degree of complexity in a repertoire that included blues, ragtime, and popular tunes. It wasn't enough to earn a living, and he survived by working in the Civilian Conservation Corps as a teenager. While visiting his brother in Evansville, Indiana, in 1935, he entertained at a local dance, resulting in membership of local bands and a chance to appear on a local radio station. By 1937, he was a member of Clayton McMichan's Georgia Wildcats, and a year later he had joined the Drifting Pioneers and was performing regularly on Cincinnati's Boone County Jamboree radio show. It was also at this time that he started playing with Grandpa Jones and the Delmore Brothers in a gospel quartet called the Browns Ferry Four. A little later he teamed with Jones as the Shepherd Brothers, and they became the first act signed to the newly founded King Records in 1943. That same year, he and Grandpa Jones recorded for Cincinnati-used record dealer Sid Nathan, who had founded a new label, King Records. Because WLW barred their staff musicians from recording, Travis and Jones used the pseudonym the Shepherd Brothers. Their recording of You'll Be Lonesome Too was the first to be released by King Records, subsequently known for its country recordings by the Delmore Brothers and Stanley Brothers as well as R&B legends Hank Ballard, Wynonie Harris, and most notably James Brown. During this period, Travis appeared in several soundies, an early form of music video intended for visual jukeboxes where customers could view as well as hear the popular performers of the day. His first soundie was Night Train to Memphis with the band Jimmy Wakely and his Oklahoma Cowboys and Girls, including Johnny Bond and Wesley Tuttle along with Colleen Summers. Travis performed in stage shows and landed bit parts and singing roles in several B-westerns. He recorded for small labels there until 1946 when he was signed to Hollywood-based Capitol Records. Early hits like Cincinnati Lou, No Vacancy, Divorce Me COD, Sweet Temptation, So Round, So Firm, So Fully Packed, and 3x7, all his own compositions, gave him national prominence, although they did not all showcase the guitar work that Travis was renowned for among his peers. His design for a solid-body electric guitar, built for him by Paul Bigsby with a single row of tuners, is thought to have inspired longtime Travis pal Leo Fender's design of the famous broadcaster in 1950. The Travis Bigsby guitar now resides in the Music Hall of Fame Museum. In 1946, asked to record an album of folk songs, Travis combined traditional songs with several original compositions recalling his family's days working in the mines. The result was released as the 4-disc 78 revolutions per minute box set Folk Songs of the Hills. This album, featuring Travis accompanied only on his guitar, contains his two most enduring songs, both centered on the lives of coal miners, 16 Tons and Dark as a Dungeon. 16 Tons became a #1 Billboard country hit for Tennessee Ernie Ford in 1955 and has been recorded many times over the years. Travis and Molly B appeared together as guests on November 24, 1960, on NBC's The Ford Show, starring Tennessee Ernie Ford. Travis was a popular radio performer throughout the 1940s and 1950s. He appeared on many country music television shows, co-hosting a show Merle Travis and Company with his wife Judy Hayden around 1953. He was a regular member of the Hollywood Barn Dance broadcast over radio station KNX, Hollywood, and of the Town Hall Party, which was broadcast first as a radio show on KXLA out of Pasadena, California, and later as a TV series in 1953 to 1961. However, his personal life became increasingly troubled. A heavy drinker and at times desperately insecure despite his multitude of talents, he was involved in various violent incidents in California, and he married several times in the course of his life. He suffered from serious stage fright, though amazed fellow performers added that once on stage, he was an effective and even charismatic performer. In spite of his problems, he was respected and admired by his friends and fellow musicians. Travis' string of chart-topping honky-tonk hits in the 1940s did not continue into the 1950s, despite the reverence of friends like Grandpa Jones and Hank Thompson, with whom he toured and recorded as lead guitarist. Travis continued recording for Capitol in the 1950s, broadening his repertoire to include new guitar instrumentals, blues, and boogie numbers. His up-tempo single Merle's Boogie Woogie showed him working with multi-part disc recording at the same time as Les Paul. He found greater exposure after an appearance in the successful 1953 movie From Here to Eternity singing and playing re-enlistment blues, and following the success of his friend Tennessee Ernie Ford's million-selling rendition of 16 Tons in 1955. His reputation as a folk-inspired singer-composer and guitarist grew after the appearance of the album The Merle Travis Guitar in 1956, the reissue of Folk Songs of the Hills with 4 additional tracks under the title Back Home in 1957, and Walkin' the Strings in 1960, the latter 2 of which won 5-star ratings from Rolling Stone. His career acquired a second wind during the American folk music revival in the late 1950s and early 1960s, leading to appearances at clubs, folk festivals, and at Carnegie Hall as a guest of Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs in 1962. In the mid-1960s he moved to Nashville and joined the Grand Ole Opry. During this time he became a close friend and occasional hunting partner of Johnny Cash. Merle Travis is now acknowledged as one of the most influential American guitarists of the 20th century. His unique guitar style inspired many guitarists who followed, most notably Chet Atkins, who first heard Travis radio broadcasts on Cincinnati's WLW Boone County Jamboree in 1939 while living with his father in rural Georgia. Among the many other guitarists influenced by Travis are Scotty Moore, Earl Hooker, and Marcel Daddy. Although his early tutors were among the first to use the thumbpick in guitar playing, freeing the fingers to pick melody, Travis' style, according to Chet Atkins, went on in musical directions never dreamt about by his predecessors. His trademark mature style incorporated elements from ragtime, blues, boogie, jazz, and western swing, and was marked by rich chord progressions, harmonics, slides and bends, and rapid changes of key. He could shift quickly from finger picking to flat picking in the midst of a number by gripping his thumb pick like a flat pick. Equally, at home on acoustic and electric guitar, Travis was one of the first to exploit the full range of techniques and sonorities available on the electric guitar. After a career dip during which he struggled to overcome alcohol and drug abuse, Travis put his career back on track in the 1970s. His 1974 album of duets with Chet Atkins, The Atkins-Travis Traveling Show, won a Grammy Award in the category Best Country Instrumental, and a later album Travis Pickin received another nomination. In 1976, he contributed to the musical score of the Academy Award-winning documentary Harlan County, USA. Toward the end of the 1970s, he signed a new contract with the Los Angeles-based country music label CMH, which launched one of the most prolific recording periods in his career. In 1983, Travis died of a heart attack at his Tahlequah, Oklahoma home. His body was cremated and his ashes scattered around a memorial erected to him near Drakesboro, Kentucky. And what actually happened? It was not expected. The regret for this stylish guy is indescribable. Innate aptitude in different ways of the image no words can describe. A singer and songwriter of major proportions and guitar stylist of monumental influence, Merle Travis also proved himself adept as an actor, author, and even cartoonist. A unique stylist, he was respected and prominent enough to have the instrumental style. Goodbye. In the afterlife, please smile.